Hey, hey, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Well, actually, good night. We know you're watching this live. Thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. Oh, man. So I still got the coof. Tested positive this morning still. I feel pretty good. It's just, ugh, um, run out of gas a little bit. But, that's about it. Other than that, I've been pretty good. Um, Running out of gas a little early seems to be the biggest thing going on right now. And when I went fishing to New Maloney's and I did my little live stream from the lake, when I first got there, the weather, it was probably 31, 32 degrees. It was freezing. And wasn't bad when you were just sitting there. But when I took off driving, oh man, the wind chill had to be like 10 degrees or something. Hey, Gerbs and Colin, nice to see everybody on tonight. RC Creative, whoop, whoop. So when I hit the motor and took off, man, did that air was very cold and that air was very dry. And one thing it did to me is it seemed to before then everything was fine. After that, I seem to have had some kind of split or crack inside of my left sinus cavity. I think it got way too dry. So you can get nosebleeds whenever the air is very dry. And it gets really dry when it's really cold, right? There's no humidity in the air. And so add to that, it was freezing and I was smashing like 45 miles an hour across the lake in the boat. And I think I overdried my sinus cavity out and then cracked it basically. I've been having like real nasty, not real nasty, but blood coming out of every once in a while. Hawking, it'll just be blood loogie or something. It's been days since that. So going fishing really screwed me up and made it worse. Like I feel fine. I don't feel sick or anything. Um, I'm pretty good, but it's just like every time I try to hawk something up and I'll spit it up, it's red and full of blood, and it's coming from up here. So yeah. Anyways, don't want to gross you guys out, but it was super stupid decision to go fishing again when I was not 100% healed up. I avoided everybody. I didn't want to share the coof. I stayed away from everybody. I didn't touch anything. I just went fishing and had a good time, but man, I paid the price. So it's probably gonna end up being another few days, another week before I can get back out. And then I'm waiting till I don't test positive anymore. I've got to sanitize everything, and I'll be sending everybody their lures. So I haven't forgot about you guys. All the members, you guys all got something coming, and all the people who watched the giveaway and won. Yeah, appreciate you guys. I managed to get 3 sets out before I got sick. So as soon as this all dies down, we're gonna get everything else shipped out. What's up, Charles? So I'm also some good news is the bad news is the boat still has issues, so it floats. I drive around just fine. Good news is the pump comes on, the boat doesn't take on any more water now. All that's fixed. However, the live well will not stay filled up. So my pump had 4 settings, right? It had recirc and pump out. That was on the top. And then on the bottom, it had automatic and manual. And if it was in the middle, it was off. If you switched it to automatic, it would fill it. And then when it got full, it would automatically shut off. The switch would stay there. If you set it to manual, it would just keep filling and filling and filling. It could overflow into the boat, right? So there's automatic or manual. That's how it worked before. Um, and so now the automatic and manual doesn't work, but the recirc and the pump out work. And see, before the recirc and the pump out didn't work, but the automatic and the manual did. So I could manual or automatic fill my live well up. And then when I drive, it would actually empty a little bit, but then it would just fill right back up. And everything was fine. The water would naturally kind of drain out, but it would fill back up. And now the stupid live well is not even filling up. Like it's coming into the live well, it's draining out. So something's been done with the way that it's all been hooked up and set up. So it could be user error or I might have to take it back. the mechanic or a different one. But so there's some small issues. Live well's not working yet. I went out fishing and I really had a half a day of barely using my trolling motor, so I know I'm going to need 4 new batteries. So that sucks right there. So I've got 4 new batteries I've got to buy. My fish finder still isn't working, but I want to replace the batteries before I blame the fish finder. But I have a feeling I'm going to need a new fish finder, 4 new batteries, and some more work on the pump or the wiring. So I'm probably looking at another close to $1,000 or more easy, which sucks. I don't have the money for it right now. So that's kind of put a damper on my spirits, like get me a little depressed. But so a light of a shine of good news is I have 2 buddies. So I have a buddy who wants to fish tournaments out of his boat, and we're looking at the future pro tour. So I'm going to be the back of the boat angler for him, and we'll be fishing the Central Valley, I think, the Central region, Future Pro Tour, and I'll be fishing the first few tournaments with him. So we'll be out there having fun, pre-fishing and fishing. You guys will see all that. And then I've got another buddy who reached out to me who also wants to fish the Future Pro Tour, and we're going to take the Northern Division. So we'll fish both circuits. I won't be fishing in my boat in the tournaments this year. I mean, unless it's a freak accident, we need it, and I got it working by then. Otherwise, hey, how's it going, Cali Bear? Yeah, it might be the drain plug valve. I don't know. It's weird. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna. Yeah, I've been. Appreciate it, Tyler. Nice to see you on tonight. Yeah, I've been having a doozy with it. I'll tell you what, like as far as it's not a joke. The first few nights were brutal body aches, worst bad headaches, and then it's been literally after day two, maybe into day 2.5, feel great. But going fishing really screwed up my sinus cavity, and like I seem to just be a little bit like a little bit more gassy than normal as far as like I run out of air, air as far as like if I go to do stuff, I don't quite seem to have as much stamina as I did before. While I'm not like gassed out where I can't do anything. And it hasn't affected my breathing so far, other than like my longevity, like cardio. And I'm fat dude, anyways. Need to get better at that, anyways. So thanks for everybody's well wishes. I got lucky. The whole damn family caught it too, guys. It went through the whole family. Nobody got lucky. So out of 8, they all got it. Actually, one person didn't test positive, but they were the first person sick. So we're pretty sure that's who gave it to everybody. Not 100% sure. So we might have one lucky person that skated by, but all 8 got it. So it's been an ordeal. And luckily, too, out of all 8 of us, nobody got it really bad. My dad and brother are let's just say they're not the healthiest people. So I'm very surprised it didn't hit them harder. So lucky, lucky, lucky. We couldn't have gotten any luckier, I guess. Let's just say that. So take care of everybody's self. If the Delta variant or one of the others had gotten in here sooner, they might not be so lucky. So because the Omicron is supposed to be kind of like a nasty cold, and that's been our experiences with it so far. But I don't want to share it with nobody. So these big old giant piles of lures, all this stuff that I got to give away to you guys, I, I haven't sent it out yet. So all my members, big thank you. You guys will all be getting some presents from me. And then all the people who won, we'll be getting those out. Once I'm feeling better, we'll disinfect everything and then mail it off. So you guys be good to go. Do you have to test Charlie? Oh, the dog? No, dog's fine. So he actually had bronchitis when we first got him. Got him from the pound. We got him from Stockton, and we took him home. And he had a slight cough, and it kind of got worse. He got neutered like a week in. They made us bring him back because they weren't ready to neuter him right then. So we had to go back. We got him neutered. And then when we brought him home, it just kept getting worse and worse. So They said it wasn't kennel cough, it was bronchitis and something else. So my dog was all coughing too. So the whole house was sick. So we had to we got him on some puppy antibiotics and stuff. Good evening, everybody, and happy New Year to you too as well, Ronald. I just got that RC. We'll check that out here in a second. But tonight's video, I want to catch everybody up, let you guys know what's going on. Um, Talk about my recent fishing trip. So I had fun, went out there, caught some fish. It was a struggle. I got some bass for sure. I got 4 nice fish, all like 3 pounders, big old fat crappie, like a 2.5 pound crappie, or 2 pound crappie, really nice. Had a great time, but struggled. Don't have a fish finder. Couldn't really figure them out. I had a buddy who was catching a ton of bass on an A rig, suspended, and I couldn't quite copy what he was doing. So, hey, what's cracking, Racho? So I was trying, I was trying to figure them out, but I ended up chasing like ghosts and ended up needing to go back to what I was doing earlier to catch another fish at the end of the day. But it was a struggle. Fishing wasn't easy for me. First day out in a few months. I mean, I caught fish. I was all by myself. If I would have had another person in the boat, we would have weighed 5 in and would have probably had 12, 13 pounds for our best 5, I'm assuming, maybe even more, because every fish was coming in at like 3 pounds. So 5 3-pounders would have been 15. So that would have been nice. But it looked like, it was a fun day, but also by like I'd say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, the wind picked up real nasty, and we started getting white cap waves. I didn't want to go run down, check by the dam or check south. My boat's just not in condition, and I noticed the trolling motor battery going dead after really not much time on it. So I'm like, damn. So it was just a little stressful out there, floating around. But hey, I managed to have fun. I took my dog out there. So it was Charlie's first trip. So Charlie had a blast. He was nuts. He was standing on the back of the boat, just watching us as I'm smashing like 40 miles an hour, and he's just chilling right by the motor, looking out, just smiling. Got this big cheese-eating grin on his face. For a dog, you can tell he's just all looking around, wind's all flapping his mouth and his ears, and yeah, we had a good time. So I'll put that video out this week here. Members will get early access to it, and then it'll go live stream to everybody. But yeah, it's just kind of a doldrums few weeks because of COVID. Really knocked me on my butt and put me behind. But hopefully, we'll get this behind me in a few days and get back out there, because I got to do some pre-fishing for some tournaments. So you guys are going to see me Future Pro Tour this year. So I'm going to run both circuits, Northern and Central. I might even dabble in the BBT a little bit, but we've pretty much chosen our circuits. So I've got one pal I'm going to fish the Northern circuit with, one pal I'm going to fish the Central circuit with, and we'll be fishing out of their boats. I do have the boat, so hey, if one of them goes belly up or backwards, we can still use my boat if we have to. I just got to figure out the live well issue. So if it ain't one thing, it's another. So you know what I mean? You just got to stay on it. Life sometimes kicks you or tries to kick you in the nuts, and you just got to try to dodge and sidestep them nut kicks, or either when they land, you just got to take them like a champ. Because, hey, that's the only way to do it. One foot forward after another, and just keep on rolling. But that's pretty much the state of the channel right now. Is we just got the boat back out of the shop, so I'm hoping I can do most of these repairs myself. I'm gonna put I can put a new fish finder on myself. I could change my batteries out. I'm just hoping I could figure out this damn live well, because it's real frustrating. I had some nice fish yesterday, and I could have done a nice little glory shot, hold it double fisted. I had some fatties, but I have to hold them one at a time. That I can't put them in the live well, so it's like, ugh. And then, to be very honest, I lost my fizzer, so I can't keep the fish right now. Anyways, if I'm catching them out of above 30, I'm bringing them up and they're just expanding, and they need to be fizzed. They're really tight, and like a football, you can feel them all blown up like a puffer fish, and you got to relieve some of that air out of the air bladder, and you can use. I know some people use spin weights, but I'd prefer to just do the old fizz the bass and release them the right way. Are you sure Charlie didn't give you the damn Rona? He might have, right? That's the crazy thing, guys. Like about a coronavirus, SARS virus, is that it's not just human; it can go in animals. But it's like you have to have proof, like documentation of it going from an animal to a human or human to an animal. But that's part of why those kinds of viruses are almost impossible or are impossible to wipe out with vaccines, because it can dormant, it can lay dormant in animals and then freak cross over, jump back into humans. So it can be in humans predominantly, right? It can even come from animals, jump into humans, affect humans, and then once we start figuring out how to fight it and it starts dying off, jump back into animals. And then at another course down the road, it can jump right back into humans. So I'm not a biologist or virologist, so I'm just that's what I've heard, anyways. So when there's a viral load that is basically not just uh, subjected to humans only, so when it can go into animals that basically make it really hard to take out, right? So, anyways, that's why you heard about the swine flu, H1N1, all those other ones. So, because they can come over. That's why they tried to play the old coof came from a bat theory, which is horseshit. But it is a bat. It is a bat. The actual virus is a bat virus. It's just been man made and manipulated with. But so, and then obviously SARS or Corona or whatever you have it is also a human virus that's been around since 1918. It's the original Spanish flu. So go figure. That's never died or never went away. It's basically stuck with us, and it changes every year. So the influenza. That's why you can get a flu shot and it can help, but you could still get the flu every year, even though you get the flu shot, is because every year there's new variants and there's not anything you could do about it. And you cannot possibly vaccinate the whole planet quick enough for in time for it to not do a new variant, right? And then it just does that every year. So that's what the original flu has done, and the corona is a new version of that. That's why it's called the novel coronavirus. Novel meaning new. A lot of people don't dig into the facts or know the science. I'm not a scientist, and this is from memory, but I've looked into the subject. I was scared of it at first because being a YouTuber, right? I'm on my phone messing with YouTube a lot. So I seen this crap coming in November, in October and November of 2019. There were all these videos, and it was like, remember back when YouTube had its first come out, around 2007 or something like that, and there were like all these alien videos or UFO videos, which a lot of them today turned out to be true, and then some of them are just hogwash. So it's like this new, exciting, almost fearful, like end of the world, like, or something titillating. It's something that's titillating, right? It's not the same old garbage or politics or whatever have you. It's like this cool thing that gets your attention, like sometimes when the news is like that, you know what I'm saying, it just grabs you. And so I remember seeing these videos of people, like doctors, like, it's coming for you, watch out, it's gonna come to America, you better watch out, it's happening here, and then seeing like people like getting locked into their homes and welded into their homes. And I'm watching this in November, and November, December, and I think even late October, something like that. This first videos were coming out somewhere around November, I want to say. And I remember my wife would ask, I'd be sitting in the bathtub, blaring it, listening to it. And she'd be like, what the hell are you watching? You know what I mean? Like, what video are you watching? And I'm like, oh, some weird pandemic sickness. And so when it first came out, I was all serious. I was scared of it, and took it real seriously. And then after 2 years later, you get to the point, whatever, like I know it's real and I know it's serious, but like I want to just get back to life already. Like I don't, care anymore. Sure, a lot of people feel the same way. It's a crazy, divisive subject, so I want to stay on it too long. But yeah, so I got the coof, but I guess that means I got natural immunity now, baby. Woohoo! That's the best kind to have. Look at me. I only got one beer tonight I'm going to share with you guys, so I'm not trying to get hammered. Not a good idea to drink or smoke when you're sick, even if you're feeling better, because anything that takes away from your immune system fighting whatever's inside of you is just not a good idea. So, smoking, drinking, your immune system actually attacks that stuff. So, it's not, the wisest idea, but hey, we'll have one beer with everybody tonight, and we'll talk fishing. We'll talk about, like, I have a couple partners. Obviously, I know a lot of people who go fishing, and so without naming any names, we'll talk about a couple of fishing trips from some high level people that I know, and what their experiences have been. Edible, yeah, yeah, those are cool. Not to get too exactly, or the old vape pen. Nothing too heavy and nothing too strong. You can control your dosage and stuff. So it's like got the good old Casper right there. But yeah, I've been pretty much just relaxing and trying to get better, take care of myself. Watch what make sure that I'm eating my vitamins, drinking water, all that good stuff, staying hydrated. I notice when I do too much physical activity, I start like getting tired or blah again. And I don't know, some of it's depression about this damn boat, how much money it's costing, and then taxes are going to be due. I'm down to only so much. I can't work because I've got corona. So it's like, damn it. So I've always been okay and things work out, and I've been tighter than this before, but it's kind of at that moment, it always gets like this doing heating and air. So it's like, because the summer is feast, and then the rest of the year is like famine. You got to live off of what you make in 3 or 4 months. It's crazy. So you got a side hustle, right? But I'm not right now. I've been focusing on the YouTube channel. It's fishing and my family, stuff like that. And it's been great to spend a lot of time at home. So, I could work some more, but it sucks. It's like right now I can't work because I'm COVID. So it sucks. It's like I've been freaking positive for like the last like almost 10 days or 7 days or whatever it's been, 6, 7 days. So it's like I haven't been able to work for almost 2 weeks now because you had Christmas. We took off Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then it's just like boom, bang, bam, boom, bang, bam. And it's like, damn it, New Year's and COVID. So I have to stop testing positive. I don't want to go put customers at risk. So I'm not even really trying to spend a bunch of money on marketing. I got marketing paused. It's like, damn, because I do heating and air conditioning. So I work for myself. So there's, ups and downs, but I'll be all right. And then, I really can't wait. We got only about, I'd say, a month and a half until spawn starts. All right, depending on the weather, I'm an early spawn guy. I believe spawn in California uh, can start like the pre-spawn process. Pre-spawn can start depending on the weather in late January or early February, and I believe that spawn can actually start in late February. Um, and I've seen it with my own two eyes, so I know. I just don't know when the biggest ones usually come up first, and they usually sometimes they'll spawn a little deeper. So we'll get those babies when they're fat and ready with things like crankbaits and other stuff like that. We got an 8 pounder on the channel or 9 pounder on the channel this year, pre-spawn on a crankbait, and then we got that 10 plus post spawn right after on the crankbait, deep diving crankbait. So my buddy Jeremy got that. I think it was an 8 or a 9 pounder on the Wigglewort pre-spawn in late February, and then I cracked my 10 plus in was it June or May? So it wasn't summer yet. It was May, I think. So it was like post spawn. The fish were suspended, smashing around, eating crap. They were very active. So it was a good time. We've had some good fish this last year. Um, I was thinking about doing a 2021 compilation video and doing some of the best of this year's fishing and rehashing that for everybody to see. As I going back and looking at it, it's been a really awesome year. I mean, I've got 5 and 6 pounders from the Delta left and right, 5 and 6 pounders from Clear Lake. We've got 8 pounders, 10 pounders. Um, you know, it's been this year's been a good year. We don't have a ton of fish over 5 or 6 pounds. We actually only had a few this year, but and last year I'd say we had about 6 or 7 fish. They were over 7 pounds probably. While this year I think we only had like 2 or 3. I'd have to go double check, and it depends. Like I forget the years blend together so much. It's just all one big year of fishing to me. The last 2 years, it's all kind of blended together. But I think I'm going to do that. So you guys will see. Oh, cranks are the best, man. A lot of people don't think so. One thing I would recommend doing is jerk baits and crankbaits in the wintertime are killer. People don't ever throw things like crankbaits. You just have to work them real slow and around the right stuff. And believe it or not, while maybe most fish in these mother lode lakes are deep, a lot of the time there'll be some pretty nice ones that'll sit up shallow. And you can get them with things like crankbaits and jerk baits in the wintertime by just reeling them really slow and letting them bump into stuff and then float up, bump into stuff and float up, kind of like a drunk minnow. Like that's the technique I like to call it. Where let's say the depth of where you're at is about 12 feet, you got yourself a 15-foot diving crankbait, and you kind of reel. If you reel it slow, you may never actually hit the bottom. You may be at 10 feet, but you reel it at just enough speed that crankbait will dig down into the rocks. And you reel it slow, but when it hits, boom, you stop so you don't dig it in and you don't snag it, and then it will float up real slow, and then you can start reeling again, and then it'll bump, and you do that, and you'll feel your lure go boom, boom, and then you'll stop and it'll float, and then you'll feel it. And then what'll happen is one of those times you'll feel it go boom boom, and then you'll feel it pull back, like you'll feel it moving. It's a fish. Then you go ahead and swing on it and start reeling. Because they're not, a lot of the times in the winter they're not going to hit you real hard, but when you're using a crankbait, you almost always, when that fish has that crankbait in the mouth, even if it's not the fish and the fish just sits there, you go to move it and you start reeling, and you can feel that weight right away, and it's different. You can tell it's different when you've been constantly bumping into the bottom and then stop and give it slack and it floats up, and then you bump and you stop and the bump pulls back. It's a fish. The bumps, rocks don't just pull back and say, hey, you up there, hey. A tree's not, you're not going to bump into a tree and it's not going to be like bent so bad that the tree's going to pull back. You know what I mean? If you hook into a tree and then you start fighting it and you make the limb bend, and then you're like, hey, am I snagged or do I have a fish? And you start lightening up and the tree starts pulling back on you. Oh, I gotta, you might think you really got a fish and fight it a little longer before you realize, oh, it's a tree, right? But when you bump into stuff with that crankbait, you should really pay attention to how it feels, because you'll feel the difference really quick. And they'll hit that stuff in the wintertime. You just got to run it slow enough. My favorite crankbait is right here, dude. This one. Technically, it's this one right here. I've got a bunch of these for all my giveaway folks. So there should be the Rooster, Cold Blooded, and Delta Crawl. Yep. So here is the rooster. It's a Ishmonroe River to Sea. It's a really great color, and it's a really awesome crankbait. Great quality hooks, great lure. Then the next one here, this one right here is my favorite. That's a cold blooded. It's basically kind of see through, and it's got like see how you can kind of see through it. This one's like almost holographic red, and then this one is solid painted. It's called Delta Crawl. It's got a little orange on the belly. So the Ishmonroe River to Sea square bills are my favorite when I'm fishing 8 feet and shallower. When I'm fishing deeper, then I like to use all kinds of stuff. I like to use cheap stuff too. Normans. I like to use Spro. I like to use all kinds of different stuff. Strike King stuff, DD22 or whatever, the Rapala deep diver stuff. Um, let's just put it this way though, my buddy Bash Chaffel Jeremy, he's got a 13 and a half pounder on a Norman crankbait out of Lake McClure. So and we've gotten a bunch of big bass, off of our DD22s and stuff like that. So I tend to use cheaper cranks when I'm fishing deeper because I lose those more. So I get snagged in trees and boulders. And so I just like don't mind breaking them off. I don't even care like a $20 lure. I don't even throw a lure retriever down for it. I just snap it off and away I go on to another one. And a perfect example of that would be LV 500, 15.99, almost a $20 lure, and I'll throw this sucker in wood and all kinds of shit down there, and I'll be brave with it because that thing catches monsters, and it's a great lure. If you know how to use it, you can pull it around and move it around things. So I'll be a little risky with it, and I'll lose plenty of them. I mean, whatever, you know. Probably be smart to use a lure knocker to get them out, but I'm just crackhead. I want to go fishing, you know, like proverbially, you know what I mean? I'm a fishing fiend. Like I just want to get back into, so I just snap it, retie, and away I go. And a lot of times I see that as a sign. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing, especially if I'm not getting bit a lot doing that. So then when I lose my lure, I just change to something else. Like, all right, let's try jerk bait now. you know? And right now in the wintertime, two of my favorite techniques that a lot of people don't do is you won't catch numbers doing this, but you'll catch monsters because the trout come shallow in the winter. Trout go shallower. They're in the top water column. So the monster largemouth bass and spotted bass, some of them are going to be shallow right now, setting up in just killer ambush spots. You're not going to find a lot of fish on the shoreline, but you'll come across this perfect spot and there'll be a nice 2-3+ pound bass right there. And a great way to target those is to find, if you have lakes that don't have a ton of wood in them, find the wood that's there. Lake McClure is a perfect example. There's just not a lot of wood in Lake McClure. So if you can find some, fish that wood with crankbaits and stuff like that and use it real slow, and you'll draw those fish out, reaction bite. And a lot of people know about the jerk bait in the winter. That's the obvious one. Just remember, the colder it gets, the longer the pauses you guys want to use. So make sure to throw some decent pauses into your jerk baits, sometimes upwards of 20+ seconds between your sets. So that way you give those fish plenty of time to lethargically move in. And that jerk bait may even be just kind of slowly, just from your line and wind slack, kind of moving down there. And it's like a float and fly. So killer technique. And when the bass hit it, those jerk baits have treble hooks. So jerk baits is another killer technique, and you can bring fish out of deep. So they can be in 20 feet of water, and you can use something that gets down 5, 6 feet, 8 feet deep, and just give it 10, 20-second pauses. And a bass that's sitting in a lay down right there, and it's looking up, and it's clear wintertime, and there's a slow moving jerk bait coming its way, it'll come right up there and smash that shit. So that's one of my other little things I like doing. And a sleeper lure too that a lot of guys kind of sleep on in the winter are going to be uh, a rigs and spinner baits. So little mini bait balls. Because if you run by a bass and you run in a drop shot or a worm or even an LV 500 or something past it, it might not want to bite. But when you throw that small little bait ball next to its face and you slow roll that thing, that'll trigger a bite a lot of times from that fish that may not want to hit other things. So, another thing I was going to talk about tonight is we're going to go over some kind of new lures that are out, what I think about them. And one of those was going to be the live target bait ball lure, where it's basically a spinner bait, but instead of a bunch of blades, it has a bunch of small little Kitech minnows and then one blade. And then it's got a bigger swim bait on the bottom. And so I think that's a great looking lure right there. I'm going to have to pick me one of those up. Yep, exactly. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up a picture for you guys, and let's see here. Yeah, the live target bait ball spinner rig. So that looks pretty sweet to me. Stuff like that. I'm gonna be throwing that. One of the let's give credit where it's due. I'm looking at Field and Stream, the best new bass fishing lures to throw this year. And number one, they've got the Headbanger Shad, which is Matt Fraser's been promoting that. It's apex freshwater predators, right, such as pike and muskie, are known for being difficult, inactive, and tough to motivate to get them to strike. An angler's only weapon may be a fast bait that moves erratically. Enter the Headbanger Shad, right? But that thing's been killing bass. Um, the Headbanger Shad looks pretty sweet. And I think Matt Fraser's been touting that, or at least one of those that's top water wake bait. And the number two was the live target bait ball. Number three was the Biwa Rafal. It's a very realistic looking wake bait, like a floating. It almost looks like a rattle trap, but it's floating, and you use it like a wake bait. One here is the Molex jointed sand deal. That looks like that's more for salt water, but I guess guys have been using it for fresh water. You got the Savage Gear 3D bat, so that looked pretty nice. The Lunker Hunt prop sunfish, I've caught plenty of bass on that at Kelsey, so that's pretty cool. It's like a frog, but it's got a prop tail, so it's like a whopper plopper, but then you can use it like a frog. The Phantom Reaper, it's another one right there. Uh, they say the Yum Finesse Worm is one of the best ones out right now too, but yeah, that's a cheap brand. I use them a lot. The Castaic BD Bluegill, I've heard a lot about that one. Cheap, nice little $25 one. You've got the Booyah Flex too, little square bill there. Um, the Power Bait Max scent and all their different stuff. I got to say that those things, I used them last year and the year before. They were killer out on the farm when it was like a summer night and we were having to dead stick or slow drag. We would throw those out there, and every time, almost within about 5 minutes, you get bit just dead sticking. Those baits were so stinky, and when the bass picked them up, they inhaled them every time. Not once did we, have a hard time with their. As a matter of fact, with some of our bass were gut hooked if you didn't catch them quick enough. They were just so much downing it. So the Storm 360 GT search bait, I've been fishing with that too. Nice little storm head, and comes with a minnow, like a Kitech that you put on it. So, and the other one they got here, the Rapala Rip Stop, that looks pretty cool. The live target hollow body crawl, I've never really liked that. They got the Jackal Chop Cut. This one here, the Terminator Shutter Bait, looks like a Z-Man chatterbait, but the blade is faced forward like a spoon, and it's like a C almost, kind of like a good old fashioned whatchamacallit, what the hell, jitterbug, you know. So it looks like if you rolled it fast enough, you can probably make that top water. It just depends on how heavy it is. The Booyah Mealy, nice little swinging jig there. Bill Lewis MR6. So the Z-Man Cross Eye football head. The Pro V Lipless. That one looks nice. River to Sea Worldwide Spoon. Definitely something we should be using right now, too, is a spoon, depending on if you can find the bass. The Berkeley Spin Bomb. So they got some nice new baits in the last few years that they've been talking about here. And I've used half of them or so and had a lot of luck with them. So now I wanted to talk too about what about the Inu rig or the Inu rig. I've seen it, and based on what it looks like you're going to go through. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and it's a very sophisticated setup, and it appears to only be able to withstand 2 or 3 fish at max before being destroyed. And so that would be interesting to see if they can improve upon that. But some people swear by it. I haven't thrown it yet. I've seen videos of it. Um, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. As far as I'd have to probably try throwing it and assembling it. I'm not one for techniques that are just ultra complicated and that can be used only once or twice, to catch like that magic fish. I guess once you start finding 10-pound bedded bass and they won't eat any lure, do you need this special, rig? Um, but from what I've seen from the pros, basically the way they get those giant bass to eat that don't want to eat other things is they're usually tossing giant swim baits on their beds. And the smaller males, if you catch those, you might push the bigger female off, scare it off, or it might leave. Or when you release the smaller male, it's just going to go right back to attacking your lure. So how to get the small male to basically get pushed aside and get the big female to come handle business is, by most pros accounts, you throw bigger lures that the smaller male can't eat, won't eat, don't set the hook on him, and just piss the big female off. And what'll happen is she'll come in to finish the meal that he can't take care of. And not necessarily the meal, but the kill, to get off whatever the hell is on their bed that they don't want there. So, and that makes perfect sense. I've seen guys do it with big swim baits, HUDs, all that good stuff. So, of course, you can try drop shot and them worm fishing, jig fishing, whatever you want. But, if you can't get that big mama to eat, that's what they say. So, I don't know about, if the rig has to have like paper straws and glue, and there's like all this like crap you need to set it up. I'm not a big fan of all that. I mean, it's cool that it's got a unique design, but I'm sure that can be probably manufactured a little bit better or more thoroughly. So we'll see. You fished the live target mini A rig, never even got a follow, huh? Yeah. I've never had luck with the A rig before until a couple years ago. And I think it's knowing when to use it. It was cool fishing Kelsey's taught me a lot the last 2 years, where there's this lake that's a private pond. It's very small, and these fish have nowhere to go. And you'll watch one lure just tear them up. And if you're throwing other things, you're not going to do as good. And I'm telling you, we know we'll have like 8 boats on the lake, and we're all friends, and we're all talking to each other. And one set is just killing it on a certain lure while everybody else is doing okay. And then when everybody else starts doing what that other person is doing, the whole lake's on fire. We're just catching them everywhere. And then the next day or two, they won't bite that anymore. They've been conditioned to it, or the weather changes. And then what'll happen is we'll start having to figure out how to catch them a different way. And then as soon as you figure out how to catch them in their current mood and their current behavior patterns, you could pick on these bass like constantly and go out there and almost every day catch 40, 50 fish, and you'll be catching the same fish a day or two later. You see the hook marks in their mouth and everything. I'm talking a private bass pond. There's only like 1,000 bass in there. There's like 32 members. Each member can bring 2 to 3 people on a boat. You have like, 50, 60 people fishing the place on any given week and just going through. And these really sticks, good fishermen too. And with that being said, there were also days where it was hard to catch a limit, hard to catch five, but that was very rare. And that was usually a figuring out phase, transitory from one bite to another. But as soon as you figured out what they wanted, it was on. They couldn't hide from us. So we'd punk them all year long. And I think fishing, when it gets tough, all it is it's the fish behavior switching and changing. And you, as a fisherman, just have to adapt to that. And that's tricky as hell. I'm no pro at that. I was really good at it in Kelsey, but and I'm decent at doing that in general of fishing, right? Going out and just I don't get skunked barely ever, and I always usually catch a limit or close to it. And if I look at it tournament wise, had I a partner with me who could fish as good as me, then I'd never not have a limit. Always on the worst days, at least catch 2 or 3 fish. So between me and another angler, we should always pull 5 decent ones out. So I'm looking forward to tournament fishing this next year, and hopefully doing a few in my boat solo or with my kid. That'll be nice. Um, but we'll see. We got to take it, play it year by day by day, play it by ear. Um, but like I said, I'm supposed to be fishing Future Pro Tour with 2 buddies, so we'll see how that goes. And I'd like to get my boat just back in the shop as soon as possible and get it just really fixed the right way, or just do all the crap myself, and then I just might have to have a friend or somebody look at the live well issue and see why it because the switches aren't working the way they used to, and it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, I should be able to use these other switches like I used to, and now I can't. And then switches I used to not be able to use now work. So it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what the hell's going on. Live well pump does work, it comes on, but the whole setup of like is it tied into a float still? Did they undo it? Did they wire it differently? So is that float not connected? So I don't have an automatic or manual setting anymore, vice versa, this or that. So I don't know. Um, we'll figure it out. But like I said, we're gonna have 2 videos we'll have out for you guys soon, and I'll be back out fishing here in a few days. Hopefully, maybe a week, maybe 2 3 days, depending on how well I feel, how quick I get over this bullshit. But yeah, it's crazy. It's like I feel great, but 7 days or so of like not being good. You know what I mean? Like I'm still sick, but I don't really feel sick. If that makes sense. It's like I got sick right away that first day, and you're talking 2 or 3 days of actually being jacked up. Maybe only 2 days, and then you feel good right the third day. Boom, like perfectly. It was a 48 hour bug or something, but then you can feel it's still there. And it's like you're still off a little, like, but you're not sick. It's crazy. But so you think you feel good, and then you try to go do something and you get all like tired. So that sucks. So I gotta really watch myself, don't push myself. I just want to get over this crap so I can fish and be around people, and I don't want to be quarantined. I feel like Quasimodo, like I'm stuck. Like, oh no. I wonder if my wife. I put dinner on the stove. She's supposed to have got it out of the oven and then done the sticky rice. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's not burning. But hey, I tried to do everything I could, so she's gonna finish up for me. I was like, I gotta go do my live stream. All right, so let me check this real quick. I fixed a heater today, but I didn't go near the customer. the customer's unit. Sorry. Then I got a guy online who paints custom lures, and he's making me some stuff. So I ordered like some things from him. We'll see how it turns out. I gave him a couple particular color patterns that have been discontinued from some of my favorite pros. Hey, Barefoot Bassin, how's it going? And he said he's gonna get them made, and he showed me a video of one. Ooh, is any different size? Oh yeah, look at that. She got a different size. Oh shit. Yummy, yummy. Love you, babe. So I'll put this over here. I love sticky rice. It's my favorite. But yeah. So I forgot where I was at. I know I don't feel 100% though. This bad boy right here, killer for right now. The 110 plus junior. Woo. And this, what I've been catching all my fish on recently. Even on my last trip, I got 3 big spotted bass, about 3 pounds each on this. So good trip, and a big old monster crappie. But I've been dealing, like I said, with some issues. Gotta figure out the boat. And I have my dog with me. I was just happy to kind of float around and fish. But it also sucks because the trolling motor battery was noticeably going dead after a few hours of usage. So I know I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy 4 new batteries here. So that really sucks. So just a little depressing, you know. When you all excited and go out there and the live well won't fill. The pump's working, but it won't fill. You catch a good fish and the pump's been going for an hour and it's still not filled. And then the fish will float because you don't have your fizzers, so you got to throw it back. And then just things weren't working like out according to plan. And then I could tell I was getting sick again once I drove it around. So stupid decision making, but hey, I was happy to get out. But I'm gonna learn from it, so I'm gonna wait till I feel a lot better, and then get out there and do another video. But we'll release that video. We'll let you guys see it. It was a good trip. Had fun. Didn't get skunked, and I'm hoping to be able to do another live stream from the lake soon. Friday's probably going to be a little too soon and out of the question, but it might be on. We'll see. Yeah, if not, then probably sometime next week I'll be looking forward to doing another live stream from the lake, and also be looking at doing a live stream from the Delta. I've just got to work on getting you guys situated in a better position where you can stay in a certain spot on the boat, and I can smash around and don't have to worry about everything flying out when I'm moving or repositioning you guys constantly. So I had to try to get a little tripod for cell phones that I can install that moves and swivels, mount that sucker to the floor, and I have a solar battery charger that I can put right there with it, so that I basically can live stream all day. As long as I have signal, we'll be able to get out there and kill them. So that's what I'm planning on doing, regardless if the boat's like not in the greatest shape or not. But It's like, yeah, you know what? You just deal with the lumps and the punches. I mean, I gotta look at things. I'm so grateful and happy that I'm alive, that I have a boat, that I have these things, that I have a family, a job, a roof over my head. You know, I could complain that my boat's not working and blah blah, but I'd rather look at it that the glass is half full instead of half empty. You know what I mean? But okay, so my bad, guys. I also wanted to do some fishing tips from what's been going on from some friends of mine and share some info with you guys. So we're going to talk about two fishing trips from two different people and how it went for them in the Motherlode Lakes and what I would expect to see happen. So I got a buddy who went with another well-known buddy, and they're both good sticks. And they went to McClure, and apparently to these guys, they've been killing them out there. The fishing's flipped; it's completely changed. They fished all day, struggled their butt off. One guy got a 2.8 and a 2 pounder, and that was about it. And it was a struggle for him. Didn't probably got a couple rats, but I don't think he did very well. And they had been usually doing really good out there, but they couldn't buy a fish to save their lives, and they were in, you know, certain creek arms, and the bite had just completely flipped on them. While another buddy of mine was fishing a different lake but similar area, right? He's also fished that lake too and got 16 out of that lake, while the other guy struggled to put two together. And what he told me is he's getting them off a rig suspended, anywhere from 20 to 30 feet over 60 feet deep on steep walls, in the backs of coves and cuts and creeks and stuff. But he said they're only in certain key spots on the lake. And right now, the lakes are going through a lot of change where they're filling up with water and then they're draining, and then they're filling up and they're draining depending on the storms that we have moving in. So we'll have a storm move in, dump a bunch of rain. Rain will come into the lake. Lake will fill a little bit, and then the storm passes. We go a week or two with no rain. Lakes start to drop again, and so there's a lot of change going on. The temperatures dropped very, very cold into the 40s, or upper 40s for the water temperature, lower 50s, upper 40s, and nights were extremely cold. And now we're getting a warm up where it's going to be back in the 60s again. So fishing's doing some changing right now. It's real volatile. So you may be struggling out there. I can't tell you what to do or don't do. I can give advice on what I think might be happening, on what I think is happening, what I would do, and my fish finder doesn't work. So if my fish finder would work, the first thing I would be doing right now is bass should be in two main places in the wintertime. They like to hang out on main lake points, and you can find them on two different types. They're either going to be on real steep, rocky walls where there's a lot of vertical drop, and they can move up and down without doing a lot of traveling. And the other thing they'll do is they'll also sit on main, long, tapering, skinny points where sometimes you might find them in a foot or two of water up there. Sometimes they may be out 50 feet deep off of that thing, suspended a bit over a rock pile or something. But Don Pedro would be the perfect example of that for my favorite little point over by the dam. It's a long point, and then there's a rock pile, and those fish will hover around that rock pile almost all year long, and especially depending on the lake levels. But so right now they should be on those two types of main lake points, long tapering ones, and they'll usually be way out off of it or right up on it, um, or right on those really deep, steep drop offs. Now, another place they'll head this time of year, depending on the weather, is they'll start to push upriver. towards the river, because as you get a bunch of rain from the mountains and the higher mountains, you get a snow comes in, and then even though it's not summer and that snow melts, you get a continuous supply of fresh water into the lake, and that's oxygenated fresh water that brings in a lot of debris and bugs and things and just steers the water up. And sometimes the fish will push all the way up into that stuff and sometimes kind of back down. So you got to look at it like a route. So if the fish are moving and they're heading up there, but it may not be all the way up in a creek arm. If there's a creek arm, let's say like Piney or Temperance or Cotton, and they may not be all the way in the back of it. They may be halfway there on a channel swing or on something inconspicuous that you may not see because it's down below and there's some changing in the position of the bottom of the lake, or how current swings around stuff down there. Because you got to think too, these mother lode lakes got a lot of current. Well, not a lot, but they got current even on the main lake. So out over 50 feet deep, you'll have water that's rushing past, bringing stuff and debris and bait and all kinds of other good stuff. So this time of year, sometimes they'll sit in some crazy spots in 50, 60 feet of water that you might not know they're there, because there's something key where, let's say, the lake, is the current's coming this way, right? And you got a section of it where the current comes in and the lake opens up, right? And so the main current brings all that water in, and then it has a natural flow to it, right? And let's just say this looks all plain and crappy, but down underneath, there's like some nasty shelves and some channel swings. But from up above, it just looks like a plain shoreline. But that current's going like this, all right? It's hitting this, might do an eddy or something, and then it's going down right the rest of the lake. The lake has a flow to it. And so those fish sometimes will sit up in places where to you doesn't make any sense, but to them, they're down and they're facing into the current, or they're ambushing setting in an ambush spot. And they'll move, they'll migrate, they'll chase bait. I mean, all they really want to do is eat and procreate. So all they got to do is just find food every day, until that time comes for them to want to spawn again. Every day is just about them eating and surviving. In the wintertime, they can eat less, their metabolism's slow, so sometimes they'll slow down. Their behavior is going to mimic a lot of what's going on with the bait fish. So does it get so cold where most of the bait fish die off, and then the fish have to eat things like trout, crawdads, other stuff? Or is the bait fish supply going to stay healthy there? What kind of weather swings do you got? Depths do you got? That's all going to affect where those bait fish go. Do you got wood? Do you got cover there? What do you got in that lake? That's all stuff you want to try to look up. Because each one of these lakes is different in that aspect. McClure is a lot different than Don Pedro. They may be located near each other, but Don Pedro has a much bigger Don Pedro has much more sculpin in it, for example. This is something I was told. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I was told by somebody smarter than me a long time ago that's why the Ned rig works at Don Pedro a lot better than McClure, is because the type of bottom that Don Pedro has is more conductive for like sucker fish, like sculpins and plecostomus type fish. In the wintertime, I think it was October, November, they start to spawn in that late fall, early winter. And there'll be tons of them down there on the bottom. And so I would be catching spotted bass that would throw these little plecostomuses up, and then you'd actually step on one or on accident under carpet and it'd burst full of eggs, the plecostomus, because they were spawning. And they were like this big. I've never seen them. I've seen them at McClure, but I've never seen the fish throwing them up. McClure bass are almost consistently throwing up threadfin shad. And then once they get big enough they start eating trout. And there's a decent community of crawdad at McClure, so they'll eat that. They'll eat, they eat jigs a lot at McClure, so they'll eat crawdads and they eat threadfin shad a lot there, or whatever. They eat the little shad, the little whatever. I think they're threadfin, but they eat shad and trout, and that's there's not a ton of bluegill. There are, but you got baby carp, baby catfish, bluegill, stuff like that. But there's not huge populations. There's not a ton of structure for the bluegills to survive in. There's not a lot of wood. There's not a lot of vegetation. So McClure is a much more bait ball associated lake as far as like, they can be out in the open eating things like the bait balls, or they're eating trout usually there. So lure selection, that's why at McClure, you get a lot of spotted bass and little bass. But when you start catching big bass, it's usually on things like crankbaits, spinner baits, or jigs, something that a big bass eats. You're not going to have a lot of luck usually catching big bass in McClure on things like worms and other stuff, at least not recently, unless it's spawn. And with that being said, I do have an 8.5 pounder on a drop shot, but it was in the winter. And an Asian dude almost got a double digit 10 pounder last year, a year before. Like it was 9.5 pounds on a Cinco. But most of the big fish come on reactionary stuff there. Like they're trout eaters, Well, at Pedro, they're definitely trout eaters there too, just like at New Maloney's. But at Pedro, the bottom, there's much more dirt and mud at Pedro and sand than there is at McClure. McClure's more rock. So Pedro's going to have a lot more of those bottom feeder fish, Blacostomus and stuff like that. Plus, there's more wood at Pedro. So Pedro has some different qualities about it that McClure doesn't quite have. And New Maloney's is like Pedro in that sense as well. There's a lot of dirt and sand, and there's also a lot of wood. So those two lakes, I think, usually outshine McClure because guys can catch fish doing a lot of different cool things there, and there's a lot of big fish in those lakes that are easy to target. But it seems like at McClure, they rat pack in the 1 to 2 pound range, and getting anything above 2 pounds at McClure can take a lot of skill or luck because the bigger fish there just become extremely hard to catch. Something about that lake on how it's been pressured and fished recently, but the way McClure is set up with its bait, I think is the primary reason it's so hard to fish. I think guys need to fish more deep diving cranks and A rigs and spinner baits at McClure and top water, and they'll come out with some of them bigger fish again. Well, we're going to go more few and far in between with your fish. If you learn to hunt those big fish down, you'll catch them more. But, it's tough when you don't have a fish finder. So my fishing skills have been, I do what I can when I get out there, but I've got a little bit working against me, a little depression, a little bit down from the fact that my boat's not tip top. It's not working the way I want it to. There's going to be a lot of money involved. I don't know if I'm going to even be able to do it, how I'm going to pay for it, but I cross one bridge at a time. And I'm trying to do these YouTube videos and trying to get out there and do productive stuff for you guys. And then it just gets frustrating when I don't have a fish finder. I can't target them. I can't put them in my live well, so I can't get good thumbnails. It sucks, but I'm making do with what I got. And so, you know, plus the weather, Corona, that's just it's been a pain in the butt getting sick with this. Really put a hamper on things. Like I'm not dead. I'm grateful for that, but it just really stopped me from working for a couple weeks, and it's I can't fish too, so I can't do what I love. I can't make money. It's just we're just sitting around. And that's one of the good things, I guess. We're just sitting around, spending family time, watching movies and stuff together, hanging out with each other. I'm getting to spend a lot of time with the new dog. So, but thank you guys very, very much. I hope everyone has had a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. Hello, Steven. Nice to see you on tonight. Stream is lagging bad, huh? Well, my bad. Oh, you guys couldn't hear me most of the time? I don't know what's going on. Usually my mic's been too loud. So apologize, you guys, if the stream's not been at 100%. I'll have to check everything out. We'll check the settings. We'll play with some stuff. I'll do a couple of lives and I'll mess with the mic settings. And we'll get everything dialed back in for you guys. It's just like I said, having this COVID's really put like me in a slow-mo mood where it's just like, So, plus tonight I've been kind of like, I don't know, down a little bit. So I haven't been looking at the camera talking. That might have to do with it. My voice being projected this way versus if I'm talking down, I'm assuming most of the noise is going to go down. Mike's probably not going to pick it up. I don't know if it's been coming from the mic or the webcam. It says it's picking up the audio from the mic, but it seemed to be that it was coming from the webcam. Last time we did a test on this, so man, I really need to get my internet skills down a little better and get this all a little bit better quality for you guys. Make sure why my stream bandwidth and all that, what internet I'm on, because we have two different Wi-Fis here, and one's probably a little slower than the other, so I need to make sure which one I'm on. Hell, or if anything, I might get a third internet and have it just down here dedicated for this, so I have a direct plug-in and maybe a LAN cable, so there's not a Wi-Fi connection, and it's an actual LAN link through an Ethernet. Oh, on the lake the other day? Oh, on the lake the other day. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I figured there was wind issues. The mic was on the bottom and the camera, the way it was facing. So, yeah, I want to get one where I can like hold, I want to get a thing that holds my camera and it can swivel and look up and look down and stuff. And then I can like temporarily mount it, with some scotch or something, or even just install some Velcro pads and then glue Velcro to the bottom of it so that I can put it there. And then when I don't want it, I can pull it up and get that perfect angle. That way I can also live stream while I'm driving from spot to spot, and you guys can see the beautiful view that I could see. I don't want to keep dropping you guys and fumbling. And then, sometimes like I'll be talking and I'll be looking away like this, and then you guys are over here, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to sound good. So I've got to make sure that I'm addressing you guys when I'm talking. So we're going to work on that. We're going to do more live streams from the water. I'm hoping to get out there. This Friday would be the soonest, but more than likely it's going to be next Monday. We'll see. So I'm going to release my fishing video. You guys will see that soon. I already released a Christmas video, so thanks for you guys if you've watched that one. And I'll probably do a little video on me changing my batteries out and giving you guys some tips on how to have a long life with your batteries, battery care, using distilled water to refill the cells if they have to be, knowing how to check, your cells, because the batteries, they go bad when if you have a nice rechargeable battery, and if you have two rules about it. You use it till it's almost dead, and then you charge it uninterrupted until it's full, and then take it off. And overcharge it. You don't you don't charge it halfway. You don't run it down halfway and then recharge it. Make sure you basically use it all the way up and then recharge it all the way up. You do that, and every once in a while, check. There should be caps that you can take off of your battery, and inside should be a liquid. Basically, it's like a distilled water. And I might be wrong on new batteries if this doesn't have this, but this is how we took care of our batteries at Foster Farms. And you'd have to put distilled water in there to bring those cores up to an acceptable level. Then you put the caps back on them. And as long as those batteries never went dry, they would be good for years and years and years and years and years and years. And it's when you forget to do that and those batteries run dry when you really have an issue, and you kill the cells where you can't refill them, you can't recharge them. The battery starts losing its charge. Another thing is, when I take everything off, I'm going to use dielectric gel, and I'm going to use there's two different gels that you can use. One is a gel that is basically like a liquid metal, and it helps connectivity. So even if there's any loose connection, it makes the electricity flow a lot smoother, and makes there like less resistance. So it's like a liquid metal that fills the cracks in, or the gaps between two really tight fittings, but makes it almost like liquid tight. So that way it's like the T1000, like liquid metal. So it helps conduct in those little tiny gaps you might have. It'll fill those in. And the other thing is you use a gel that basically prevents corrosion, Formicary, or I forget what type it is, but it prevents the corrosion on the leads. So I'll be swapping all my batteries out here most likely soon. That'll be the next bullet I have to bite. 400, 500 bucks. So probably going to wait until I do a couple of heating jobs, get some work coming in, make a little more money. Either that, or I might sell something. I'm a big collector, so I can always take, the Deion Sanders or something, or Joe Montana in, and, sell a couple autographs and be good. So that'll be the next thing I'm going to have to do, is get those batteries swapped out. Also going to be picking a fish finder most likely, so we'll take you guys along the ride for that. So nothing too exciting, just maintenance stuff and getting ready for tournament season. And we'll take your guys' inputs and considerations in if you guys like. And I'll get what I can afford. So we'll look at price ranges and see what you guys think on certain things. And I'm more than happy to listen to anyone's advice and do some research and look at stuff. But we'll go down those rabbit holes together. We'll cross those bridges. Yeah, the HDS9, I've seen that one. So we'll see how it goes. I'm almost 100% sure I'm going to buy a new fish finder, so I could do all that myself. Just the frustrating part is the damn live well. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit and see if there's a reason why it's not staying full, or if I can buy a live well plug or something. What my options are, because if the plug gets knocked loose and then I'm not paying attention, a stupid fish knocks the plug loose, and then whoop, next thing you know, you killing all your premium fish in the tournament. Can't be having that happen. So I have to double, triple check things there, but we'll at least take you guys along for the ride for the batteries and the fish finder, and do a little video on changing all that stuff out, and maybe take you guys along to either Bass Pro, Tackle Warehouse, or we'll do a live stream where we share the screen And of course, we won't be putting in no credit card numbers or nothing like that, but we'll do some shopping together. Maybe help you guys fill my shopping cart up with what I'm going to need. So, yeah, we'll have some fun doing that. But in the meantime, we're just going to be doing this live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every day that I can. And maybe we'll be out on the lake this Friday. I just really don't want to risk setting myself back again. I'm really upset because I got over COVID in like 2 days, like rapid time, like 2.5 days, something like that. By the third day, I was feeling great. And I had to go and freaking push it on like day 4 or 5 or something like that. Five, I had to go fishing and crack my sinus or something and have like blood clots coming out now. And it's like fucking, it sucks bad. So it don't hurt. It's just like, it just feels like it reset my timer. Like, damn it. I feel like I'm in timeout, like a little kid, and I want to go be able to go shopping and go out to eat. And I want to be able to do stuff. I need to work. I need to make money. And I can't go to any customer's house. I can't do anything while I'm sick. And I own my own business. I work for myself. So there's no paid time off and no unemployment and no boss to cry to. So it is what it is. But I'm excited, so we'll see what happens. I've been talking to a buddy. I want to be. We're going to fish the Future Pro Tour. So if you missed the beginning, we're definitely going to be doing that. Me and buddy are fishing the Central. Then me and a different buddy are fishing the Northern. So I should be fishing the whole dang circuit like constantly. So it'll be fun and interesting. So I'll get to see a lot of the guys there that I know. And we'll look forward to getting our butts whipped. Hopefully, we bring home some wood and a couple checks here and there. That would be nice. Yeah, price is going to be a real important factor, being that I'm going to have to probably, yeah, I'm going to have to replace 4 batteries. So that's $400 right there, easy, if not more. And then fish finder could be anywhere from $400 to $800, right? And that's like $1,000 or more right there, easy. And I still haven't got my live well issue fixed. So, and I want to order a seat because my seat flew off last year when my bonehead son didn't pay attention and didn't screw it back in all the way. And I also was boneheaded and left it like that, and it flew off on the way home from the Delta. So I got a backing. I need to buy a seat back. So that's not going to cost that much. But it ain't one thing, it's another, right? But I want to fish tournaments in my own boat this year. So I will be fishing with my buddies in the back of theirs. But as soon as my boat's ready, I'll be cherry picking tournaments. I would really like to fish with the Delta Bass boys, with NorCal Bass. I like to fish with the River Rat guys. Um, so Merced Bass Club, I don't think they're having that anymore. So I'll try to drop in and fish every little local tournament and turkey shoot I can here and there, as long as I can afford it. But as soon as I got that live well issue fixed, it's on. My gas gauge works finally, so I know if I'm gonna run out of gas. But hey, like I said, I'm happy to be alive, happy to have the opportunities that I have, happy to have such a wonderful group of people, and we're lucky to have the channel that we've got here. And a big thank you to everybody. So I'm looking up at the board here. I still got to send everybody their gifts, but like I said, I'm gonna wait till I'm feeling better. I don't want to get nobody sick. I don't want to mail anybody any COVID. It'd be the gift that keeps on giving. Trust me, you don't want it. But salut, happy hump day to you. Hope you guys are having a good night tonight. Hope you guys are having a great new year. Had a great new year. And may 2022 be much better than 2021. And I just hope everybody's success and best of luck out there fishing. It's just, it's been a crazy few years, hasn't it? So let's see what the next one has in store, and just grab on and get ready for a fun ride, I guess, right? Sorry, folks. I don't usually eat on here anymore. When I first started, the wife used to bring me dinner all the time. I was kind of running, it was a running joke on the channel for a while, like what's the wife bringing for dinner? But I get all embarrassed eating it in front of people. And then I want to talk and got my mouth full. So it's like, Plus, I just ate all the sticky rice. So I'm done. You got it, Ray. Break out another 1,000. Boat. Bust out another 1,000. Yep. Good old boat. Break out another 1,000. But probably going to be more than that. And then my boat, I just spent 800 on it to supposedly be fixed all the way. But hey, I'm happy with the dude that worked on it. I appreciate his services. There's no down on him. But so altogether, I'll probably be at over $2,000 put into my boat in the last month. A 2,000 that I really didn't have, but oh well. Yeah, you only live once, and I'm not. I don't know. I'll be all right. I've been ultra fortunate in that department as far as whenever life seems to have gotten down and tough, I just keep faith and God always opens a door for me or whatever, like something's always worked out. And I'm very grateful for that. So I just always try to be positive and no excuses and just try hard. And sometimes, you get, life goes through these waves, right? Or these cycles. And sometimes as you're going down, you're like, you can see that ground and you just pull up just in time. Start heading on your next high where you're flying, right? Feeling great. And then sometimes, and then there's every once in a while, like when someone passes away, like I've lost my son when, you get divorced. My wife left me. Um, my mom's died. I've had probably like 10 friends die in the last 15 years or so, maybe a little more than that. I've been to like so many funerals, it's crazy. So sometimes, you just you hit the ground. But as long as you're not dead, you get back up, right? And you keep going. But there's those times where you swear that you're going to hit the ground. You know what I mean? Like life's just hurtling at you, bills are hurtling at you, and your savings is dwindling, and you're wondering what's going to happen, or this is and that's going on, and you're flying at the ground, and you pull right up. Right? That's what they say about most Americans. We're all living from paycheck to paycheck, anyways. Right? That's just basically an advanced depiction of that characteristic. We're just constantly flying from paycheck to paycheck or from situation to situation. Some of us, right? Maybe not so much paycheck, but just like things that drain our accounts and our resources or our will and our soul, and they just like seem to weigh you down and just like. And then you have those moments where you're flying and everything's working all right and cool. That's life for you. So I don't know. Just enjoy it and be happy when you're riding those ups. And throw your hands in the air and enjoy the roller coaster ride called life. And then when you're going down, just try to plan and be smart. And, if you do hit, you got to learn how to get back up and deal with it, tumbling, how to fall with grace. So you don't just fall like a pile of bricks. You kind of get a little roll going on. Pop yourself back up. Fire Marshal Bill, let me show you something. In this odd channel, sometimes we go over some crazy stuff. We talk about some deep subjects. I appreciate you guys and gals. Greatest little group on YouTube out there. So Appreciate you guys and gals. We'll be back on Friday. So in the meantime, because I've got COVID, probably not going to do my full stint that I usually do. So I was on at 6 o'clock a little early. So we've been on for an hour and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and be saying sayonara to you guys for tonight. So stay tuned. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And make sure you stay tuned because Friday I may be ballsy and stupid enough to be out on the lake and doing a live stream from the lake. I really don't know. Depends on how I feel and a bunch of other circumstances. If not, probably Monday we'll be out there at the lake. But thank you guys and gals for your support, your warm wishes, of getting well and getting better, and just for your views and hanging out and spending some time with me. Couldn't ask for a better crew. You guys are awesome. So again, smash that like if you haven't had a chance to already. Share the video. Let people know there's a cool YouTube channel you guys can come hang out with Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I try to give honest to God tips and tricks that really help. I don't act like I know it all, but we also have a great community here of people who also give you their 2 cents. And great thing is if someone's on here telling you fish this way or that way, I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm not going to override them. There's a bunch of different ways to catch fish, and I enjoy us all being able to share these things with each other. The chat here is awesome. So for everybody that leaves a comment and engages, thank you guys. That helps YouTube push this channel out there to more viewers. Fishing channel is not exactly the hot topic channel that everybody wants to watch as a podcast or a live stream, especially when you're doing it from your man cave. That's why we're going to be trying to do these broadcasts from the actual lakes and rivers and deltas and all that good stuff. So we got some good things planned ahead, but one day at a time, and we take life as it may. So again, thank you guys and gals, and have a wonderful night. We'll see you guys on Friday, okay? So take it easy. Bam. I haven't said that in a while.